Hey everyone, let's work on the oxygen tank. So here we are diving in the ocean, and we have some oxygen tank that has some percentage, some number, and we need to check that number and get some kind of response. So we'll be just checking a couple different ranges here. So let's declare a main method, and our oxygen tank can just be some number. Seems like we're just using a whole number here, so we'll just use an int. We'll just say that this is our oxygen tank, I guess, yeah. And then we'll declare some number. So we'll just start at 90, but that could be, any number here. So we have a couple of ranges here. The main difference here, or the variety that you can approach this task with, is which way you go. So if we go from top to bottom, meaning we go from 90 to 80 to 70 in order, we will actually be able to handle this without multiple Boolean conditions. So what I mean is, for the case of above 90, we don't need to check for is it more than 90 and less than 100. And then for this one, we don't need to check for is it more than 80 and less than 90. Like, we don't need to keep checking each of the ranges if we go in the proper order from top to bottom. If we went the opposite way, where we went from 50 to the beginning, so like if our first statement was if the oxygen tank is less than or more than 50, right? If we started with the least amount at the end, then we would have needed the and we would have needed to actually check for the range. Is it more than 60 but less than 60, or more than 50 and less than 60? So depending on which order you go, you may not, or you may need that extra and condition checking one more Boolean. But if we start immediately from the top and then go down, we'll be okay. So if the oxygen is more than 90, and it seems like the requirements here are not saying anything about including the range, I think I'm going to go ahead and decide to include it. So if it's more than or equal to 90, then we will say your tank is full. And for this one, let's just go ahead and print inside of each if statement. Again, alternative to this could be instead of printing each time, then you could have just made one result variable, for example, or just a variable that's going to hold your information, your output, and then print that once at the end. I think we've done that in a different task. So this one will just print in each line. It's okay. We'll be declaring some multi-branches here. So if the oxygen tank is more than or equal to, let's say, 80 for this one, then our output is going to be still okay. And from this point, we just need, I believe, 3 more of these. So we'll just copy paste and we'll adjust as needed. So this will be 70, this will be 60, and this will be 50. So 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, good. And then all we need to do is update our outputs as well. So let's just do some copy paste. Condition for the 60, and then finally the 50. And in our task here, it seems like we are not checking for numbers that are too big or too small. So currently our program does not care about if the number is more than like 100, or it doesn't care if it's less than 50. And so I think we'll leave it that way. If the requirements were a little different and that we had to check for those kind of extremes as well, we could have written an else statement or constructed this in a different way. Let's just go ahead and test this. So for 90, we're getting your tank is full, and then we can say something else like 64, and 64 will be somewhere in the range of this one. Start to head back. So it was more than 60, so we'll get that result. That's it for this one. See you on the next one.